Hello everyone, welcome to the Wasabi Aquarium channel. Today will be a continuation of the previous video where we give a detailed introduction to the nature aquariums displayed at the Sumida Aquarium, which are fully produced and operated by ADA. In addition to an explanation of the aquariums, I will also try to provide as much knowledge and technique used in these aquariums that can also be applied to your own layouts at home. As a continuation from the last video, I will also give additional analysis on the layouts discussed in the previous video, as well as introducing some of the new layouts that I did not get to break down in the last video. To start off, this is a layout that I introduced previously, but when you take a look, you'll notice that there are not that many fishes inside the tank, especially considering the size of the large 4-meter aquarium. However, when you look closely at each fish, you'll also notice that every fish is swimming with a lot of energy and that this layout is built to maximize each fish's freedom and health. A lot of the times when we start building our layout, we always tend to think about the visuals, the layout design, and we keep adding features to make the layout look good. What then happens is we forget that we are creating an environment for the fish and not for ourselves. When building a nature aquarium layout, we must always keep in mind that we are building out an environment where the fish can maintain a healthy lifestyle, from the spacing, the clean water, the right amount of features, and looking at this aquarium made me realize that core philosophy once again. Even I enjoy looking at aquariums with a lot of fishes, especially upon first glance. But it is always necessary to think about the fish who are actually going to live in this environment and decide the amount of fish to include in your layout. But if you absolutely want to create a layout with a large amount of fish, one tip would be to add an extra strong filter so that the fish can breathe easily. Looking at this aquarium was a very good opportunity for me to realize once again why we build these aquariums and who we build them for in the first place. Next, let's move on to this layout over here. This is a layout that I did not get to introduce in the previous video, but at the same time, it's also one of my favorites. At first glance, your eyes should go to the surface where the beautiful leaves of the lotuses are floating. When you look up from below, from this angle, you almost feel like you're actually swimming in this scenery, and it's absolutely a beautiful aquarium. The technique used in this layout design to control just the right amount and sizes of the lotuses, both for the ones inside the water and above the water, are absolutely spot on and overall very high level. As some of you may know, lotuses grow very rapidly and large in size, but you'll notice that the ones in this layout are maintained to just the right amount of leaves. If you leave them to grow out, they will overshadow your aquarium, leaving a dark and heavy impression. So you can already see that this aquarium is maintained very frequently and precisely. The lotuses are also used in a very smart way inside the water, where the red leaves and the green leaves are allocated in their significant positions to bring out their beauty. This over here is especially beautiful. It is almost stunning when you see the fishes swim beyond the wood to the lotuses in the deeper end. The leaves used in this layout are also relatively large, such as Anubias or Bobitis hiruloti, which are actually very difficult plants to implement in a layout, as they can often give a heavy and dull impression to your overall aquarium. But the overall balance is spot on in this layout. Also, one high-level technique used in this aquarium is the spacing in the middle. Usually, in a layout where you locate two blocks of plants and layout materials on both sides, you would empty out the middle without any aquatic plants and just maybe white sand. But they've intentionally blocked the view in the middle with Anubias and Blixa alberti. This does have a risk of making the layout seem pressed, but the Blixa alberti gives a soft impression to relieve this pressure. In fact, I feel that the Blixa alberti gives the perfect contrast and distance between the two blocks on each side while maintaining the natural scenery. I think this is a simple but very effective technique that can also be implemented into your own layout. It is a very popular strategy to simply empty out the middle of an aquarium to make it look more spacious, but just by changing the aquatic plants, you can maintain a consistent natural scenery throughout the layout without making it seem too packed. If I was a fish, I would definitely love to swim inside this layout, which is why I keep coming back to this aquarium over and over again. Thinking about whether you would want to swim in the layout you are building if you were a fish could actually be a good point to keep in mind. Once again, this aquarium also reminded me to approach your layout from a fish's point of view. Next, let's take a look at this 180 centimeter Overflow aquarium. This is actually the aquarium displayed next to the other Overflow aquarium that I introduced in the previous video. Unlike the other Overflow aquarium, the materials in this one are mainly wood, and you can also see that they've implemented a mist on the surface, which gives a translunar impression. Now let's dive inside the aquarium, and you'll see that the bottom floor is mainly constructed with stones as accents to the wood. You'll also notice that the pathway of white sand in the middle is intentionally curved. This is actually a very simple but effective technique that can easily be used in your own layouts. By curving the pathway of the white sand rather than keeping it straight, it gives a more natural impression and also makes it look deeper and more spacious than the tank actually is. You'll also immediately notice that there are a lot of plants used on the surface, but my favorite section is this area on the top right, where the pieces of wood are sticking out from the surface. This wood and this block over here actually leads your eyes from underwater to the surface and creates the perfect mix and synergy between both sections of this aquarium. All of the wood are also facing in the direction of the flow of the water, and the pathway of the white sand in the middle brightens up the overall impression of the layout and makes it seem very spacious. There is also a wide range of plants throughout this aquarium, such as the Nepenthes rafflesiana, which allows you to enjoy every corner of the layout. Lastly, let's look at the bottom floor of this layout. In the other Overflow aquarium, the bottom floor was mainly constructed from soil, if not entirely from soil, but this one uses a lot of power sand or light stones. The reason why they did not go with just soil for this aquarium is most likely because the main plants used in this layout are ferns, so too much soil will lead to excess nutrients and less water permeability. This is definitely a technique that can be used in your layout, but usually for a layout that is 45 centimeters deep like this one, it is better to have a solid amount of soil in order to maintain a consistent amount of nutrients and sustain the pH level. So I would try to keep the amount of soil in your mix for aquariums of this size very high. So for the last two videos, we have covered in detail the aquariums displayed at the Sumida Aquarium that are built and operated by ADA. These are fully built out and maintained by absolute professionals, so it may seem a bit unrealistic at first to implement into your layout. But as we saw when we broke down each aquarium in detail, there were definitely some very basic techniques that could easily be used in our own layouts that were also the key to why these aquariums were so beautiful. I would strongly recommend taking a visit if you live close by or have a chance to visit Tokyo. Please kindly subscribe to the Wasabi Aquarium channel if you like this video, and hitting the like button would also be definitely appreciated. We will continue to introduce various professional aquariums that provide knowledge and help when building our layouts. That's it for today. Thank you.